Hello, and welcome to Khyber Shards, a 5th edition actual play show set in the Eberron campaign world. It's Friday, so we have another Khyber Shards Answers, and we are joined by Eric, player of Ari and Kara.
Live
So
from
let's settle a
Texas,
question.
y'all. Boo, boo, boo.
Let's settle a question real quick. How do you spell Kara?
It is far simpler than any. It's Kara. That's just.
Oh, okay. I've been right the whole time.
Yep.
They started putting H's in there, and I was like, wait, did I miss something?
No.
Did Eric explain? No?
Yeah, we didn't give a spelling on the show, and I think people rightfully like she's an elf, so probably there's like some letters in there that you wouldn't expect.
Used to be an apostrophe.
But yeah, no, it was simple. I came up with Kara on the fly while we are just talking about her name because I originally named my character accidentally after one of Colin's ex-girlfriends, and he pointed it out immediately. I went, "Oh, I'll come up with a new name. Sorry." So that's how Kara got named. That was not her original name. It was on the fly. Oh crap! So.
Oh, that's real funny. Oh man. Well, speaking of that, Mia asks, what was your inspiration for Kara? Were you specifically looking to create a character besides Esri who would be able to talk to Jalair? And what's her deal with apples?
So just kind of in order, there's a book series that I started by Will White, of Shadow and Storm, I think. It's an interesting concept where it's a book series where like every volume there's two books from the opposite perspectives of the conflict, and so volume one of them is named Of Storm and Shadow, and the other one is named Of Shadow and Storm. And you're like, and so anyway, the main character of the Shadow side was very much my inspiration point for personality wise. Kara, just a talented person that has some skills and joins an organization because they are willing to provide her with meals and a bed. And while going through the training, one of her campaign, kind of her Ron Samwise, the secondary character that's always there, is like trying so hard in training and like giving it their all and wants to be the best, and she's just literally like sitting there like, mealtime soon? No? Okay. And so I like that idea of a character being a student in the school. Because my assumption going into it was, we're going to play these students sometimes, but they're certainly not going to be the focal point. And
Right.
Playing a character like that for like a main character in a D&D game, I think for me personally, playing it would get old really quick. But as like a little side character that can come in and out every now and then, I thought it would be fun. So
Cool.
And there was another question. Oh, the apples. She's she has the urchin background. If I were to build her as a actual fully fledged PC, so she had to get food where she could, and as I thought about this question, like why did I pick apples? Because occasionally she'll pull like bread or like some other, but apples has become the consistent thing. And apples are kind of the perfect travel food. Like, you can grab it and immediately start eating it. You don't have to peel it or anything, but it's just durable enough to where it's not going to get wholly destroyed in your bag. And so I think that she learned early on that a satchel full of apples is a good way to go for just in the pinch, need a quick bite. So that's that.
Were you specifically looking to create someone besides Esri to talk to Jalair?
Oh no, that was a pleasant surprise. I liked the idea of and this gets into a question later on. I like the idea of an Irani elf on the island manifesting a mark that was not a known elf mark and just getting freaked out and immediately leaving because unknown marks like aren't cool here, and like given the history. So that's why I made an Irani elf. And then I think it was honestly like the first time we sat down to play and I went, oh wait, there's an Irani bust in the house. Interesting. So no, that wasn't part of my design intent. It was a light bulb moment. So yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Emily asks, did you know that restoring people's memories of Ari would cause them pain before the first time Ari did so?
Nope. It makes sense, like, to have this like rush of memory, but yeah, the physical pain aspect was not something that I knew going into it.
Yeah. Did you and Casey discuss that your students would be breaking into Esri's room? And if so, is there a reason why you chose for Kara to sneak with Nasaria instead of Pip? Or did
So,
Philip just spring that on the two of you and you had to quickly come up with a reason for Nasaria to come up?
so I Philip didn't spring it on me. I told him that I wanted to do that, but the initial pitch, and I also pitched Nasaria going with Kara, because the initial pitch was during the chaos when Mo and Pip were talking to the rest of the party. Kara would grab Nasaria and sneak up and go do it then. So that was and Kara and Nasaria have a fun dynamic. So, um, but the timeline obviously got shifted around, but it still made sense that, I mean, it's fun for Kara and Nasaria to play off each other in a scene. I haven't really got a chance to do a whole lot with Mo or Pip in a scene as Kara, but Casey and I just built two characters that play wonderfully off each other. So, yeah.
Cool. Nathan says, for both Eric and Philip, I think you do a great job at both, but if you could only do one, would you rather play or GM?
Do you have an easy answer to this?
I don't have an easy answer to this. If I could only do one,
Yeah,
I want
'cause
to know
that's the
who's
thing.
forcing me to only do one, and I want to kick that person in the head repeatedly.
Because my thing is, I get the itch to play after I've been
Yeah.
GMing for a while, and once I've played for a while, I get the itch to
I
GM.
want to GM.
So it
Yeah,
oscillates.
it's exactly the. I like doing both a lot, and
I think if some magical, some archfey came down and was like, you can only do one for the rest of your life, or else you can never play D&D again. Every dice that you touch will turn to dust unless you pick. I would probably go with GMing, just because I enjoy telling stories. I enjoy conceptualizing worlds. I know that for my part, like, Eberron is my go-to setting, even in one shots and stuff. Like when we go to Gamer Nation Con, every one shot that I run is in Eberron. But I still like taking that established setting and that established canvas to work with, and world building off of what Keith Baker has laid out. And so
Yeah.
I really love playing, and I love playing Ari. But if given the mandate that I had to pick one, I would probably go with GMing.
I guess I would do the same, but only because it would mean I would be able to guarantee that a game is available.
That's
to me.
true.
If
Yeah,
I'm relying
world full
on
of
finding a
players.
GM to play, like that's much less reliable for me getting to play D&D.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be my answer, but I like both, and I would fight someone who tried to make me choose only one. So back off, Nathan. Nathan also says, I know that on the whole, Ari's curse was a curse. But has he thought about the ways it made life easier on him, and how is he going to need to adjust some of his behaviors in the future?
So Ari, like early on, right after it happened, because he was so young, had that initial like, oh, I can get away with stuff now. And then probably the second or third time that like one of his parents or a girl he really liked or something, like, just completely like forgot something that he did or said, it was like, okay, this sucks. In terms of now that the curse has been lifted, I feel like I've played Ari pretty consistently, and self-examination is something that I feel like I've explored as not being his strong suit. So he hasn't really given it a whole lot of thought, honestly. I think he's still going to be as reckless as he was before, and presumably that will catch up to him, and he'll need to have that point reinforced in a way before it sticks, of like, oh, I can't just rely on a couple days later people forgetting that I was somewhere. And I think we haven't gotten to explore Ari's day job a whole lot, but I think that was something that he relied on very heavily in his day job, because he would go like steal things from merchants, or coerce them into like giving up these artifacts that they found in the Mournland. And you know, it was fine because shortly thereafter they would forget Ari's face and who did it, but they won't anymore. And so that,
Right.
yeah, so that might be
It's also
interesting.
interesting to me to think about that every time you say the rhyme outside of the school, there's, you know, an odd number of random passerbys
Yeah.
who hear you say the rhyme. And so at what point does that catch up?
Hey, I know you.
Yeah.
Bye. Yeah.
Yeah.
Need to have that
you
that dwarf that tried to kill Ari on the ship over to Stormreach catch up.
Right.
Like that needs to be the route.
That would be funny. Emily asks, and you touched on this a little bit, but was Kara living in Arenal or Stormreach when her mark manifested? Where in Stormreach was she living when she found out about the school?
So she was in Arenal when her mark manifested, and basically went to the one port city in Arenal and hopped on a ship at the next chance that she got. I envision, in terms of where she was living in Stormreach, I mean, I envision her like she didn't have a home. Like she was on the streets, and I think that, you know, she was very standoffish. Like, I'm sure there would have been plenty of, you know, the street toughs and gangs are always recruiting in Stormreach, and so it probably been like, oh, you're good in a fight. But she wanted to be on her own and not really connect with anybody because, as we've seen to a certain extent, Irani elves aren't exclusively on the continent of Arenal, and so she still felt this need to lay low to a certain extent. And yeah, I think that I don't know how Thora conducted recruitment and getting the word out about the school in Stormreach. But the second that somebody would have said something about it, her first questions would have been, food, room and board. Yep, I believe in this cause and I would like to sign up. And so,
Right.
yeah, she would have been stealing to survive from a food standpoint, and yeah, so. And something that I can't remember if this came up in the show, but like, she's bad at it. Her stealth score, her sleight of hand scores are not good. So I mean, she's got scars on her arms from, you know, like merchants going after her, trying to slice her hand off, and she's gotten away to this point. So yeah, she's not a good. She's not a rogue, like in any capacity. She has done what she's needed to survive and run as fast as she can. So probably I would give her the expeditious retreat spell in some capacity to manifest that. Like, she can magically just get gone quick. So
Cool. Laura inquires, Eric, are there any memories in particular you're scared the Forgotten Prince will take?
Blah. It was actually reading this question that I thought of a really fun memory, and I texted Philip about it, so stay tuned if that ever comes up. But no, I mean, obviously, the concept of wholly forgetting about somebody that he loves is literally Ari's worst nightmare, because it's the inverse of like people that loved him forgetting about him. But, you know, having that happen, like having the memory of his mom or his memory of Pog just be completely wiped out, is terrifying. Now, I will say that there are none as a player that I'm scared of Philip to pull, because I trust Philip to do something that will make an interesting story and not just be debilitating. I think there's a way that, you know, the Forgotten Prince could pull Ari's memory of Pog, Ezri, and Shade, and we could make that interesting content. But in terms of what Ari's scared of, that would be his greatest fear. Probably second on that list is his the memory of his parents' death, because something that we haven't gotten to explore a whole lot, but Ari still harbors a lot of righteous anger about that. It's just there's been a lot of other stuff going on, guys. But you know, I think that that has been something that's fueled him for so long, that losing that, while it may be healthy for Ari to lose that, that's something that he would be afraid of losing. And so when Puzzle Dust says like the memory of your mother, that's part of it. Like, obviously he wouldn't want to forget his mom, but he also doesn't want to forget this thing that he's held on to since they died, and that's this like righteous anger against the dragon marked houses. So
Yeah. How often does Ari need to buy shirts?
well, not as we had established that Orlando Grimalkin is Ari's size, so far less frequently now, because he's got a wealth of shirts. So poor in pocket, wealthy in shirt. So yeah, I mean, I think that the amount of shirts that Ari loses off camera is a lot lower in number than most people think. So, but no, Ari thankfully does not need to buy a lot of shirts anymore, thanks to the generous donation of Mr. Grimalkin and Thora, I guess, for allowing Ari to take all of his clothes.
Right. Laura wants to know also if I have evilly plotted what memories I'll ask for. I mean, I've thought of all sorts of terrible ways that I could use this. Proficiencies.
Yeah. The mechanical
Take
stuff.
memory of
Yep.
how you persuade people. Like,
Ari taught good. Ari good with word.
Right.
Do what me want.
Obviously, individuals would be one. In terms of torturing Eric, making Ari forget a word.
Oh, that'd be awful.
Like a specific word would be very funny. In terms of like narrative torture, make Ari forget that he ever was a Korovar.
Oh yeah.
Or in terms of just comedy, aside from making Eric try to not say a particular word, making Ari forget something like basic and fundamental about the world that he lives in could be amusing. Like, make Ari forget that airships exist.
What the?
So, right, yeah. I mean, he comes out and like that kind of thing would be, I think, very, very comedic. And so there's a lot of different directions, and depending on how often it's called for, I would be inclined to mix it up a little bit and make some of them just for goofs.
You
and
want to torture
otherwise.
Pog, make Ari forget how to make bacon. That's that.
I mean, torture everyone, make Ari forget where he has stashed all the bacon.
Yeah. Ugh.
So there's lots of different ways to go, both evilly and just funny.
I just instantly thought the worst thing that you could do, the worst memory that you could take from Ari, is the poem that allows him to restore people's memory of him. Like, it just becomes this recursive, like, I know there was a poem that fixed this.
You just can't say one of the words.
Yeah.
Like, you've forgotten one of the words.
Come away, O mortal. What is kid? Youngin. Infant. Come away, O mortal infant. Yep, that's right.
Yeah. So there's some fun. Although you said what memories I'll ask for, there's no asking involved.
Just take.
Just taken.
Yep.
I need to get around to asking him to steal something. I have thought of a couple of really funny things based on where we recorded again last night. We're now well ahead of the release of the show, and I did think of something fairly amusing that I might introduce pretty soon. But
yeah,
there are some fun things.
I realize 12 is a big number to like manage. Like it reminds me of the slap bet in How I Met Your Mother, where I think it was like 10 slaps, and so it became this countdown over the course of the show of like, we're in the last season, there's still 4 slaps to go. How are they going to fit them all in? So we're going to hit like the end arc, and people are going to be like, Ari still got to steal 3 things. So.
I mean, based on my ability to remember stuff, Ari's still going to steal 11 things. Oh.
Those 11 books over there, just get all of them.
So, and now Emily, who fails to notice nothing.
Yes.
Emily misses nothing.
I noticed this in the moment, but I didn't want to like disrupt your flow. But yeah.
Yeah, asks, why was Donabella able to remember Puzzle Dust seemingly on her own, but needed to hear the incantation to remember Ari? So here's the reality, just to be transparent for a moment. When Eric set me the task of remembering to forget him, that's not easy to do. And I was bad at it on a number of occasions. So the truth is absent-minded. However, I really enjoy binding myself by whatever stupid thing I've said. And so the answer is that Puzzle Dust is a children's story character, of course. And so children don't forget Puzzle Dust.
It's a creepy sentence, given that we know
the
Puzzle
wonder
Dust.
of childhood. Listen, you find Puzzle Dust insufferable, but Puzzle Dust is a delightful children's picture book character.
That's fair, I guess.
Well, anyway, that's all of our questions.
Oh, okay.
So
Bye.
we'll wrap this one up a little short. Thank you all so much. We really appreciate the questions that get submitted every week. It's really fun to see what people come up with and what people notice and what catches people's attention. There's always something that caught someone's attention that I thought nothing of in the moment, and it's always fun to get to explore those things in greater depth. So thank you so much. And if you want to submit questions for this, you can do so in the comments on any of our videos or over on our Discord, which you can find a link to down in the description, along with all of our social media and our merch store. And there are a couple of channels on our Discord dedicated to Khyber Shards and Khyber Shards questions, and you can submit them over there.
It's true.
In the meantime, new episodes of Khyber Shards will drop every single Monday. New Khyber Shards answers technically almost every single Friday. We have missed some in the past. And until next time, thanks for rolling with us.